The following program contains the opinions of the host, guests, and call-in participants. These do not necessarily represent the views of this show's distributors or sponsors. This program may contain obscene, profane, or otherwise objectionable language. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey, greetings from Minneapolis, everybody coming to your cordless. It's Thursday night, July 31st, 2025. I'm Jim Peters. This is another edition of Jim Peters at Night. It's our 2-year anniversary. We started this mess on Monday, July 31st, 2023. It's show 260 exactly. Mark your scorecards, because I'm gonna come around and collect them. You know that. I'm gonna. So we got a bang up show playing for tonight. Larry Newman, our old friend's coming on in a couple minutes. Bail bondsman extraordinaire and Bigfoot investigator. We always have fun with him. A little later on, he's live. Larry's live. Murray Sabrin, economist, is coming on, and I invited him on specifically because he was the very first guest on our very first show, and we had a little fun. He's on tape, so I was telling Larry before we started here. We've had a very interesting thing lately, and that is almost everybody that comes into the virtual studio to do these interviews is having connection issues lately. I don't know what's going on. And first of all, I've talked about this before. If you're on a Windows computer, the video's easy. The sound is a nightmare. It's like they fixed the airplane in midair. They've never really figured this out. It's really terrible audio on Windows computers. The cameras plug and play. That's not a problem. But most people have microphones on their cameras, and you think that'd be plug and play too. Nope. No. You have to fiddle with it. So that's been kind of interesting. We're gonna be I'm gonna make an announcement here in just a second. So tonight's part 3. We're gonna be taking your phone calls. I think my mother's calling in. It was her 101st birthday last Saturday. So I got her calling in, I think, got a couple other people too. And you can call in too. Numbers on the bottom of the screen. 325-CALL-JIM, 325-225-5546. You can call in while we're talking to Larry. You can't call in while we're talking to Murray, or you can, but we can't pick up. It's taped. So that's what's going on tonight. Now, we don't do Friday shows here. We do run reruns on Fridays. Tomorrow night, we're going to run the show with Nels Gravelius from last week. Fascinating guy. Honest to God, this is one of the. I fell in love with this man. We're doing this. It's like you have to see this. And I thought not enough people watch this. So yeah, he's on tomorrow night. Yeah, tune in if you can. That's really kind of interesting. I know most of you watch the show on demand, even though we do a live. Yeah, I understand that. So like for the longest time, I thought, well, what's the point of running a rerun? Because you can watch it on demand anyway. But it does accentuate what we think are the better shows. I mean, those are the ones I put up. And no offense to anybody else, but yeah, it is. Well, Gravelius was really interesting. Monday, we're taking the day off. I have to, because I'm going to the dentist, and I have a hard time with the drugs, Novocaine, lidocaine, all this sort of stuff. So I probably won't be able to talk on Monday night. So that's why that is. We're running a rerun on Friday too. That's Francis Menton. He's also from last week. He's from July 23rd. And then on Tuesday, poet Leslie Corbley is here. Now, this is going to be kind of interesting because she's a conservative poet. I have no idea what that means. I don't know. And she wrote a book of poetry basically slamming woke stuff. Okay. All right, fine. I'm sure she'll read some of it. We're all along for the ride, folks. It's like it'll be pretty cool. And Wednesday, Tim Conaway, former executive editor of Hustler Magazine, our old friend, he's joining us. And so, I was alluding to this before about the fact that we had two guests on tonight, and we were having trouble with people connecting. We're having technical problems when people come in for their interviews. My booker, Kimberly, has convinced me that we're going to start booking two guests a show. So instead of doing one hour-long interview, we've settled into kind of a formula here, and it is the show's 90 minutes long. Usually we do a 1 hour interview, and then I do like a monologue, or we take phone calls for the last half hour. That's the way this works. Well, she's convinced me, and I think she's right, that we should do two 30-minute interviews instead of one 60-minute one. Now, I'm totally okay with this, but here's the problem. It doubles our workload, you know. And she's doing the booking right now, or most of it. I do some of it, but she does the majority of it. And I told her this. We're going to basically need double the guests. I mean, right now we have on about roughly 15, 16 guests a month, roughly, and it's going to be double that. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Booking a guest for the show is harder than doing the show. That's the big time suck here, is booking the guests. And yeah, it's like and also, you want people who are interesting. Now, there's plenty of interesting people in America. There's also I was thinking about this today while I went for a walk. There's a lot of people who aren't interesting too. And you don't want them on your talk show, folks. You don't. It's like, if you have a talk show, try to avoid that. That's my number one piece of advice to you. Don't put on the people who aren't interested. So anyway, the phone lines are open tonight. And speaking of an interesting person, Larry Newman's here, and we're going to put him on in like a good 12 seconds. Here we go. Larry, baby.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
On a scale of 1 to 2, I'm pushing 2, Larry. You know that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. How's things in Joplin today?
Oh, it's nice and hot.
Yeah.
It's summertime, and
are you guys
what
getting the
happens.
smoke from Canada? Are you getting that down there?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
That's good. That's good, because my wife told me that supposedly the weather service said today that Minneapolis was had the worst air quality of any city on earth today. So there's these wildfires in Alberta, Canada, and the smoke's blowing right this direction. And then so people asked my girlfriend at the local NBC affiliate, Belinda Jensen, why don't they put the fires out? And she said they're so far up north, there's no roads up there. They can't get to the fires other than with a helicopter. And how much water can you dump? So yeah, so they're just burning out of control. They're just going to burn until they're done. So we're just sucking it up here.
It's impacting the oil industry up north too.
Is it?
Yes, it's impacting the oil industry. They've shut down wells and things up there where the fires are.
I didn't know that.
It's putting a little pinch on the oil industry. Yes.
So, are you tired of winning then yet?
No, I'm not tired of winning.
Not
never
you.
get tired of winning.
No, you never get tired of winning.
Keep doing it every day. We win something else.
That's right. You never get tired of winning. So now I don't know if you've been following this, all these trade deals. Okay, that's pretty cool. But the one with the EU was, not only was it the biggest one, we just cleaned their clock. I don't know if you've been following this. I mean, they got so screwed, and it's like they let themselves be screwed. And this is my theory. This is the reason I'm bringing this up, Larry. Most of the people in the world are pussies.
Well, I mean, they've taken advantage of us for so many years. They can't say anything to disagree. But that
is actually what they said. They said it's been in balance for so many years, and we decided we had to rebalance it. But still, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, the negotiator in chief, we all look at this on a day-to-day basis, and he looks at this in a long-term basis. You can either deal with him, or he's going to go on and deal with the rest of the world, and you're going to get left behind. So what are you going to do? I mean, you better be dealing with him. You better be making the deal. You've got all these countries that are going to be sending money over here to build new plants, manufacturing and automation plants. Um, and do you want to be left out on the new world economy that's coming? I they don't want to,
No.
so they're jumping in. They're going to have to.
I had a guy named Gary Gallus, an economist, on last night. Really, really great guy, but he's very critical of these tariffs. But we were talking, and he said, "Well, hold it. You got to listen to this, though." He said, "Well, I don't understand. Trump sets these ridiculous goals. He puts them up, and then he negotiates down from them." And like he said, "Well, that's not really a negotiation." I said, "Yeah, but Gary, it's stupid, but it's working." And it is stupid. When you stop and think about it, it's stupid, but it works.
I don't care if you're trading chickens, horses, cattle, or whatever. You always start out asking for more than you're willing to settle for.
Well,
That's
yeah,
how negotiation works.
right.
And I mean, if you're not asking for more than what you're willing to settle for, you're going to lose. So
Yeah.
that's the basic economic 101 of negotiation.
But
So
Trump's thing is, it's not so much they ask for so much. He will set a barrier up at the very beginning, like, we're going to raise your tariffs to 50%. Everyone starts to panic, So it's like, well, let's talk about it, right? So then it's negotiated, but he set the artificial limit. You know what I mean? He set it, and then it's like when you stop and think about it, it's kind of nuts. But people, well, I guess they have to fall for it, because what happened? The alternative is that they get a 50% tariff.
correct, and that money starts coming to us.
Right.
So they don't get to sell their products over here, at a undercut U.S. manufacturing. So yes, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that he's doing, and he's smart about it. He knows how to do it. Those of us from the country, in the rural areas, we negotiate from the time we're kids. That's how negotiation works. So he's doing exactly what he should be doing to get what he needs.
Larry, that's the very reason I brought this up. You've got a whole bunch of city people who don't know how to do this worth squat.
No clue.
There's a tweet I saw online today, and I just think this is fantastic. I can't remember, didn't even read the guy, record the guy who wrote it, but it says, I'm just going to read this. I'm generally a staunch defender of the economic profession, but the fact that an 80-year-old reality show star and his raging crew of like 5 Alabama University undergrads are running circles around 10,000 PhDs for a year now does raise some concerns we cannot ignore. And he's absolutely right. That's right.
What concerns? He's winning.
Well, no,
do we not like winning? That's the whole thing here.
But he is, the point of the tweet, and I totally agree, he's putting to shame thousands and thousands of people who have PhDs and telling them this isn't going to work. And I just find this, like, what kind of expert class do we have here? It's like, okay, we went through COVID, bullshit. And then we went through inflation, bullshit. Now we got this, more bullshit. Like, no one knows anything. It's just like, what the hell?
Oh, you better set up and take your lessons from the school of Trump. Now, I'm telling you, people, you've got no idea what's coming down. I heard a news article the other day. Somebody said, well, he hasn't even started to negotiate with Canada and Mexico yet. No, he hasn't. He's getting all these deals from all the other countries across the world. Well, what kind of pressure do you think that's going to put on Canada and Mexico when it comes their turn? Okay. Really? And, the 51st state of Canada, is a very real possibility. So he wasn't just talking out the side of his mouth when he mentioned that.
No,
get ready.
I'd like to see, I have to be honest, I'd like to see us do military action against the Mexican drug cartels. I think they're terrorist organizations. I think we should bomb them.
There's a lot of things that go on that the news doesn't report and we don't hear about. So don't be surprised if you hear about that there's been an ongoing war on the cartels for the last 6 months.
Huh. All right. I didn't even put this on the list, Larry, but talking about ongoing war. So I've been we talked about this last night too. uh, a couple really interesting theories regarding the whole Epstein shit, right? Now, I have this. No, no, I got to run this stuff by you, whether you care or not, because some fascinating machinations. This guy and we're running a rerun of that show that he was on last week. His name's Nils Grevelius. He's a private investigator in Los Angeles. So he has two theories. First theory is that all right, let me see. I gotta remember I want to do this in order. Okay. His second theory is that there's a good possibility that Ghislaine Maxwell was actually the brains of that whole thing, and that Epstein was a front. And I don't know if you know anything about her family, but her father was Robert Maxwell. He died under very suspicious circumstances. He owned the Maxwell Publishing empire in Britain, and when he died, it turned out he was $400 billion in debt. I mean, basically, the guy had no money at all. It was like what Jeff Meyer would call he was a plate spinner.
Right,
he was just keeping plates in the air. And so she actually has a family pedigree for this, about the fact that that her family's been involved in nefarious activities for years, and the fact that Bill Walton, another guy who came on the show, a very big time CEO guy, and he said that his network was telling him that Epstein was actually working for Mossad, the Israeli CIA. So Grevelius is floating the idea, no, maybe Epstein wasn't, maybe she was, and that he was just kind of like the prop there to prop the whole thing up. What do you think of that?
Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Not surprise me at all.
And then the other thing he thought, I should have mentioned this first, his other theory, and you're in law enforcement, so you tell me about this. His theory is that, let's say Epstein did kill himself, but he had a lot of help, in the sense that it was assisted suicide, because I don't know if you know this, his roommate that they pulled out of there about 3 days before he killed himself, his roommate was a serial murderer. And they're thinking that the powers that be got to the roommate and said, well, you tell Epstein that if he doesn't kill himself, we're going to torture him for a few days and then kill him. Well, you don't have a choice, guy. You got to get out of this. And so they very conveniently, all that stuff that went wrong was, the guards fell asleep and the cameras didn't work and all that sort of stuff. But it was basically, they gave him a window to do himself out. So what do you think of that?
That's a plausible theory, not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't know how you would ever prove it. The guy's dead. Ghislaine Maxwell, if she wasn't the brains behind it, she knows everything.
Yes, that's
that
correct.
Was going on. Okay, so this week is the first time that a federal prosecutor has interviewed her in this entire mess.
That's hard to believe.
It's the first time that the federal prosecutor. Well, look at what's coming out now about, Obama being behind a lot of this, and that's, I see that, and Hillary's right there. She's there too. But the only reason that the federal investigators would never have interviewed her is complicity.
Yeah.
So we don't know just how complicit that the former administration was in this whole thing. We're going to learn. I think we're going to find out a lot of stuff here before long. But as far as Epstein's death, I don't think too much about it.
I know. It's done,
but,
right?
Right, done. But the theory about Ghislaine, that is an intriguing theory.
Yeah, and like I said, it's especially prescient if you know her family history. Her family, her father was involved in all sorts of nefarious crap. So like father, like daughter. I don't know. And so,
when you grow up around it, you learn the family trade,
Yes, you do. Whatever it is, people bitch about nepotism in the acting business. it's very simple. You see your father go to the studio every day. You go with him sometimes. You sit on the cameraman's lap. It's like it's not. That's the thing. It's not really unfair per se. At least I don't think so. But
Well, look at the mafia. That's how the mafia operated.
yeah,
It was all family.
right.
And when your kids come up, they got involved and they learned, and that's one of those things that happens.
Yeah,
In the natural course of things.
yeah, yeah. So okay, so you just talked about. I didn't have this on the list either. Talking about the whole RussiaGate thing. So I'm watching my boyfriend Bill O'Reilly on a show last night. He spent a lot of time talking to John Solomon, an excellent investigative journalist, about this. They spent actually, I think he went overtime. I think they spent too much time, right, in his mind. But so Solomon says, just to wrap this up into like 25 words, he said, well, there's not really any proof that Obama did anything illegal per se, but he said there is probably proof that Hillary did. And I've been saying Obama's not going to go down, and Hillary probably won't go down either. But his argument or his proposal is that Hillary is so deep in this, she could go to jail.
I guess that's a possibility. I'm kind of beyond the belief that her or Obama's going to go to jail for any of this. I think the others, the rest of the collaborators probably will feel the heat.
That's right.
But I think the important part of this is that the truth and all of the truth come out to the American people, so they can see just how crooked the prior administrations were. Now, everybody wants to equate Nixon and Watergate. That was a small blip compared to what's gone on for the last 15 years.
I totally agree with you.
And the damage that the Obama years has done to this country, even with Trump and they're working hard to fix it, it's going to be felt for generations.
Yeah.
But it was a nefarious attempt to take down our country. He wasn't secretive about that. He was kind of open about wanting to destroy the country. So I think no, Obama probably won't be held liable, thanks to Trump and his Supreme Court ruling that presidents can't be held accountable for laws. I think there's some nuance there that people don't talk about, but no, Obama's kind of skipped out on that. But all of the stuff that's coming out now about discussions in the Oval Office with the principal collaborators in all of this hoax and this false stuff, the fact that Obama said do it, it might not be quote unquote illegal, but it's definitely immoral and it's wrong.
Yeah.
And told his people to go do it.
Right.
So CIA and the FBI and all of them were involved heavily in that. The judges that were involved in that criminality, I think you're going to see a lot of that go down. But yeah, it's interesting to see what all's coming out. I don't worry about it too much because we're winning too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested. Your experience in law enforcement is what particularly intrigues me. The reason I want your opinion here, I'm curious if you agree with me here, and that is, I don't even think it's necessary per se for like Obama to go to jail because his reputation will be so tarnished. That's the primary punishment.
Well, I think you're right, and like I said a while ago, the real important part of this is that the public's eyes are going to be opened on what actually factually happened.
Right.
and that they were not aware of or that they denied. The news media that were so embedded with the Democrats and all of that at the time, that were complicit with it, they're going to have to eat crow. It's going to, there's going to be a lot of really strong repercussions over this. It may not be jail time for some people, but I think the repercussions are going to be enormous and long lasting.
Now, I got to ask you another thing too, because it sounds like I'm changing the subject, but I'm not. We're talking about Watergate very briefly. I have had people on the show who were actually involved with the whole Watergate thing, like Robert Tannenbaum and others. Who there's some people who have floated the idea that the actual break-in to the Watergate complex by those guys called the plumbers at the time,
Right.
that was actually set up. And you're in law enforcement. I don't understand how that would work, because they got caught by the security guard. I don't know if you know this. Supposedly they broke in two previous times before they got caught. And so, but the whole thing was predicated on the fact they got caught. If they had never gotten caught, nobody would ever heard of this. So, there's people who say this was a giant Democratic plot, and that they actually did this to get caught. I don't understand. You couldn't do that, could you?
Sure, you could do that.
How can you? But
and the thing about it is, you could set it up. You could do it in a number of different ways, and the burglars could have been involved with the people that caught them as a setup. It's very easy to do.
Yeah, well, that is. But the thing is, everyone seems to agree that the lone security guard that caught them had nothing to do with this. His life was basically ruined by this. But
right, and he may not have been involved in it. I mean, we're talking about a conspiracy that can be very complex and very deep. And we have to remember that Nixon, I don't think he even knew that these things were occurring, that these burglaries were happening. His mistake was denying it all once he
so the
was
cover
told about
it. It's generally agreed by all historians that he did not know they were going to do this.
Correct. And so, just the simple fact that he denied that it happened or denied having knowledge of it, that was all there was to it. He didn't commit any crimes or anything, do anything wrong here, except just say, well, I don't know anything about it, and it didn't happen.
Right.
So it was, to compare what's going on now and what's coming out now with Watergate is apples and oranges. It pales so far in comparison.
Well,
it shouldn't even be compared.
Larry, do you agree with me that if Nixon had gone to the press room the next day and stood up and said, "Look, these guys busted into the Watergate complex. I didn't know it was going to happen." He didn't. He actually didn't, and said, "We'll prosecute this to the full extent of the law. I want to apologize to the American people." If he had done that, I don't think we'd even be talking about this.
No, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't. He would have been just fine, and nobody would have said anything. If he'd ordered the FBI to prosecute them immediately the next day after it come out, yeah, he would have been fine.
Yeah,
but he chose to try to cover it up, and that never comes out good.
No, and in America, the cover up is always worse than the crime, it seems.
Right.
All right. So now I have to ask you: do you like the boobies?
The boobies.
Yeah, the boobies. Do you like the boobies?
The show?
No.
Is it a show?
No. On the women, you like the boobies on the
women? I think women are beautiful creatures.
Yeah.
That's
so.
Yeah.
Do you think Sydney Sweeney's beautiful?
I think Sydney Sweeney is a very beautiful young woman.
Yeah. Everyone does, don't they?
Sure.
Would you agree on that? So all these people who went nuts about the fact that she's a Nazi for doing this stupid jeans ad.
Oh God, it's so ridiculous. It's hardly even worth.
No, that's right.
Mentioning, I mean, you get a few idiots out there that want to attack her for something, and all of a sudden it's newsworthy. No,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Mary,
You
here's
know,
why I brought it up. Here's why I brought it up. And I think that there's some people have said this might be the nail in the coffin to this whole woke business. This stupid, this is so stupid. This reaction is so stupid that it might actually kill this for good. And that's the reason I actually brought it up. What do you think of that?
well, yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Mulvaney advertising beer, that was the death knell to Bud Light.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was the
and
opposite, basically.
it was the opposite. It
Right.
was the opposite. And some people out there trying to revive this for Sweeney, they they just don't have anything better to do, I guess. I don't know.
I got
It's just it's ridiculous.
I have to read you this.
Hey, but the advertising for the jeans company is just going through the roof. That
Oh yeah.
it's
It's fantastic.
Yeah, they couldn't have paid for
No.
advertising of
They
this
couldn't. They're absolutely right.
magnitude.
And also, you're old enough to know this. I don't have to. For people who don't know this, about 40 years ago, uh, Calvin Klein ran almost the exact same campaign using Brooke Shields. It was then I think like 19,
Sure,
20 years old or something like that. You know, it was
sure.
almost, those commercials were almost identical. You know, so it's like this.
Well, I mean, yeah, and we've known. I've did the retail business for many, many years, 40, 50 years ago, and yeah, sex sales. That's just the way it is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's always been
But
that
isn't it
way.
crazy? There are people trying to tell you that it either doesn't or shouldn't. I find this just nuts. It's like
Oh,
nuts beyond
it's
belief.
whether it should or shouldn't is not even in the discussion.
That's right. It
Uh,
isn't, because it does.
the fact is that it does. So, from a marketing standpoint, if you're a marketer, that's what you do, and it's better than a bunch of these stupid commercials they got on TV now.
Like,
That
what are you thinking of?
you wonder who in the world they got a bunch of fifth graders running these ad agencies
Oh, they
coming up
do.
with this stupid
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I got
But
to read you this. This guy named, now this is really interesting because this guy's a Democrat. Ben Dreyfus. I don't know who he is, but apparently he's a well-known liberal. And even he said the people that are mad about this ad, he's talking about the Sydney Sweeney ads. The people that are mad about this ad have cats in their brains, and those cats have rabies and need to be put down.
well, we talk about the Democrats and everything, but out here in the real world, in the heartland and the flyover, what they call it, the Democrats are so far from what the new bunch of crazy Democrats are. They don't even like it.
Yeah.
Most of your old line Democrats are in line with Trump. Trump has taken the entire country. He's taken the Republican Party to the center, and he has joined up with all of the middle and conservative Democrats. And that's why you got 80-20 issues.
Yeah.
They're going out and doing these polls, and they find out that 80% of the people back what Trump is doing, and the 20%, like I said, I've been in marketing, for 40 years.
Yeah.
You got, 30% of the people believe anything that you tell them, regardless of how ridiculous it is.
That's
So
correct.
when you come out with a poll and it's 80% of the people agree with them, that's astronomical.
Yes,
You
it
might
is.
as well be saying 95 to 99%.
No, you're basically right. Anything over 80% is basically 100% when it comes to dealing with the public.
Correct.
And not
Correct.
only that, I pointed this out before. Consistently, the only single issue he is polled underwater about is the Gulf of America. Some stupid little thing. Apparently, people don't like that. That's the only one. It's like unbelievable.
Have they never seen a map? Did they not go to school? If you look at the map,
Yeah, I
okay,
know.
it is North America, Central America, and South America that this water is bound by. There's America in each one of those,
Yeah,
so it's the
yeah,
Gulf of America. I
yeah.
mean,
I know. I know.
that just
But I just had to bring that
It's
up.
so common sense that we never even thought about it.
That's right. I never thought, it never occurred to me till he started talking about it. It never occurred to me. And not only that, 80% of the land around the Gulf of America is in the United States too. So, well,
Well,
whatever.
and it's in Central America and South America. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You know, can't leave you without doing a Bigfoot thing. You know that.
Yeah.
You know that. So, did you see this? This happened in the Sierra Nevada mountains, I think a couple of weeks ago. Some guy is recording his dogs playing in the snow, and one of the dogs sees something, and the guy doesn't see it. He said he had to play. He didn't see it till he played back the video.
Right.
And so it's basically of a large bipedal figure running down a path, and it appears the dog is looking at it, but he didn't
Yes.
notice that at the time. Have you
Yes.
seen this video?
I've seen the video, and it's not an uncommon situation. I've talked to people who had dash cams out driving around in the country. They never saw anything until they come back and play it
Right.
at home, and all of a sudden, here's this figure that was standing next to the road that ducked down and leapt, and they were looking the other direction, so they never saw it. But yes, that's a lot of the reports come in like that.
And so
It's a very common
I'm gonna
thing.
play devil's advocate here, though, to you. How how much of a chance do you think video like that is faked? I mean, you've been in this for quite a while.
It to fake something like that, you have to be very good with electronics and with computers to fake
Uh-huh.
something like that.
Well, I was thinking.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
I was
I'm
thinking
just
more
saying
on,
it'd
more
be
on the line of
difficult.
a guy in a suit. You know.
No, I most of those people say, well, it's a guy in a suit. Well, it's a guy in a suit's pretty obvious. You
Uh-huh.
don't have the arm length, you don't have the motion,
Right.
you don't have the fit and texture of in a suit of a live animal. So it becomes fairly easy to spot these fakes.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I had to run that by you because
Yeah.
I've come to the conclusion now when it comes to the UFO stuff, which is kind of my wheelhouse, that the at this point AI is so good at faking pictures that if somebody actually had a video of a gray alien coming out of a spacecraft that was in a far on a field or something like that, and you actually recorded that clearly, nobody would believe it if it was
Right.
real.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
so
And
at
AI's got all kinds of videos out there now. It's the big thing now to have. You got the Bigfoot videos out there, telling jokes and doing all this crazy stuff, and
yeah,
it's not even a Bigfoot; it's a gorilla. The actual um, thing that they're showing you is a gorilla. It's not even a Bigfoot. There's a huge amount of difference in the looks of a gorilla versus what a Bigfoot looks like. So it's AI is going to get. We're going to be so inundated with false information from AI, you won't even believe it.
oh, it's going to be just mind-boggling. I just talked about this last night. I'll leave this with you. This is more of a comment than actually a question about the fact that at Anthropic, one of the major AI companies now, they have they've caught one of they're now using AI trainers to train AI students. So instead of they've caught their they've figured out that the trainers can depart information to the students through random strings of numbers, and they have combed over this and combed over it, and they cannot figure out what's going on here. They don't know how this information is being transferred, and it can be anything as benign. They discovered this literally about they're talking about owls, but then they did experiments. Then they actually got to the point where they're talking about murder, and so it's a totally benign transfer of information, and yet the student will say, they ask the student, I'm having trouble with my spouse, what should I do? And the student say, well, it's probably pretty obvious, you should kill him. It's like this crazy, and they don't know how this is happening. It's like,
Well, AI is like any other computer information. It's what is put into the computer. AI, what AI does, in my understanding of it, is AI combs the internet. When you ask a question of AI, it combs the internet to find out the information, and that's what it gives you.
No, that's
Okay.
not actually what's going on here. And it's like, I
Yeah.
don't
And
want to,
so stupid information goes in, stupid information going to come out.
they're using what they're calling synthetic data. They're using data that isn't actually real. So,
Correct.
right. And the thing is, and it's also supposed to be random. And they keep checking these number strings, and it turns out they are random. It's like there's not so they don't understand how this data is being transferred. It's really, really weird. It's scary actually.
Well, yeah, I forget AI. AI is not real. It's not. It's still what somebody puts into it. What they want to put into it is what it's going to spit out.
So if you like
So
owls, you like owls, I
yeah.
guess.
So
You know?
there you go. I mean, uh, we all talk about, well, the computers are thinking. No, they're not thinking. They're spitting out information that is put into them. So
Yeah. Well, I don't want I they they're just to get the terms straight here. They can think, but they're not and they are intelligent, but they don't have consciousness. That's the difference. They're not a human brain, but they can think in the sense that they can do rational logic, you know.
well, a computer is going to think based on the input from supposedly a vast amount of information that's on the internet, and
Yeah.
that's where it gathers its information and thinks and makes its own choices based on what it finds scattered all over the internet.
You know,
It's still an excuse for people not thinking for themselves.
that's right. That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
And Larry, I don't think any computer or AI is ever going to replace you ever.
No, well, that'd be scary. That would be scary.
Hey, Larry, thanks for coming by, especially if on
You
our
bet.
your
Anytime,
birthday.
Jim.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, always,
Okay.
always fun. So you take care. We'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Take
It's Larry Newman. So Larry is a bail bondsman, and he's a former police investigator, and he is an investigator for the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, which is the largest Bigfoot research organization in the United States. It's kind of the Bigfoot version of MUFON. That's kind of the way, which is the UFO investigators. That's the thing. So Larry's been doing that for a while. He said they signed him up. He agreed to do it. He was a complete skeptic. He didn't believe in Bigfoot at all, but they wanted him because he was a police investigator, so he knew protocol. And then he's told me many years ago, he said he was sold when he's in the middle of the Ozarks in the middle of the night, pitch black, said you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. And through an infrared camera, they watched a family of Bigfoot for an hour. And he said that changed his mind. So now we got another guest coming on. Murray Sabrin was our very first guest on our very first show on July 31st, 2023. And we recorded this afternoon. And I'm glad we did because we did have some connection issues. And you'll notice the video on this gets a little dicey at the end. Sorry about that. But so we do what we got to do. So anyway, here's Murray Sabrin. Joining us from his home in Naples, Florida.
Hello?
Hi, I'm here, Jim. Good to be with you on your great anniversary.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks, I appreciate it. And you are our very first guest, so we really appreciate you being here. Hey, so you're in Naples, right?
We're in Naples. It's been
Right.
hot here. Hopefully, it'll cool down the next few days. We're in the middle of the summer, so usually it gets into the low mid 90s, and we tend to get rain every single day because the humidity builds up, and we get a nice downpour, and that's about it.
I went to school in Miami, Murray, and it rains every day between like 3 and 5 o'clock, right?
Well, yesterday we had a downpour in the morning, which is
Oh,
surprising. Usually we get it, as you said, between 3 and 5 o'clock.
and what is that called? There's actually a name for that, but I can't remember what it is. The afternoon rainstorm.
Well, the thing is, a few weeks ago, there was incredible lightning in the evening. I mean, it was really a lightning show. As you know, Fort Myers is the lightning capital of the United States and possibly the world. I mean,
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
yeah, it is really remarkable how these lightning strikes hit constantly. And we're getting messages from the local TV radio station that has a very sophisticated radar system. So they give us alerts, and obviously you're going to stay indoors when these happen, especially at night. There's no reason to go out at night unless you're partying or doing anything like that. But yeah, I mean, the weather can be a little dicey. So far, we escaped any hurricanes so far. We'll see what August, September, and October bring.
Murray, do you have any trouble with the extraterrestrials and the lightning?
No,
All that
no.
technology, they say the lightning actually brings their crafts down.
Well, we'll see what happens. But right now, we're pretty well protected in where we're living here in Naples.
You're well protected from the gray aliens, huh?
That's it.
Tip your head down so I can say, okay. Now, I said before we started it, I said make America financially independent, but you said it's what? Make Americans, right?
Right. A country is composed of or comprised of individuals, and the 340 million Americans need to be financially independent. Unfortunately, over decades and decades, and today I think is the 60th anniversary of Medicare and Medicaid, and next month is the 90th anniversary of Social Security. That's not financial independence. The American people have been bought off with these programs, with these big welfare programs. And what I'm advocating in the various articles I'm writing on Substack is that there's a path to get to a financial independence. And so I'll keep on promoting that over the next several years until the people in Washington realize we have unsustainable programs. These welfare programs are unsustainable. And make no mistake about it, Jim. Social Security and Medicare are welfare programs. Everyone knows Medicaid is a welfare program, but people take the notion that since they paid into the system, they're entitled to the money that the Social Security Administration and Medicare promises them. And that's really the key thing. It's a promise. It's not a contractual obligation of the federal government, because we have no contract with the federal government like we have with our financial institutions, where we have a contract where we put our money in a 401k or an IRA. That money grows as we buy stocks and ETFs and mutual funds and what have you. That is a sound financial relationship. Social Security and Medicare are not sound financial relationships. And one of the dirty secrets in America, Jim, as people are starting to realize, we are overinsured. We don't need an insurance claim to go see a doctor for a sore throat or an earache.
Right.
We need insurance for the big catastrophic losses that could occur when you have a major illness, either a heart surgery or extensive surgery that you may need. But even that can be dealt with in a more cost-effective basis, such as the Surgery Center of Oklahoma, which charges a half to 3/4 less than what hospitals charge for same type of procedures.
But you're talking about finances and economics because that's your thing. But I can make an argument here that the reason, or one of the reasons that's happening, is because we as a culture now are overprotective about everything.
Well, what you hit on is the exact concept of why the four-letter word has become a dirty word in America, and that is risk. Life is full of risk from the time we're born to the time we pass away. Life is full of risk. Slipping in the showers, slipping, going down the steps. You cannot be protected from risk by the government. You have to exercise prudence in your eating, in your sleeping, all the things that we know will give you better health outcomes, you need to do that. And the doctors have a responsibility to their patients to let them know what medicines they should be taking or not be taking, what protocols they should be following in terms of diet. And we have a real problem in this country with chronic illnesses. And even the federal government says it's due to lifestyle.
Yeah.
So if you're not eating properly, if you're not eating the things that will keep you healthy, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, fish, and things like that, and you're feeding your body things that are really harmful to your body, you're going to have chronic illnesses. And one of the biggest problems is inflammation. And there's a bunch of evidence out there that inflammation causes arthritis and all these other illnesses. And so we've got to know exactly how our body functions, and therefore we need to take action. And a friend of mine, who I hope you have on your show in the not too distant future, just came out with a new book. He's a naturopath in New Jersey called The Health Paradox. So he'd be a great guest. He knows his stuff.
Absolutely, got to talk to him. Right.
And I will send you the information he sent me. His book just came out the other day, and he said in one chapter I mentioned 12 times. So I'm looking forward to reading that, of how he mentions me 12 times in one chapter. One I think would be sufficient, but I'm there 12 times he wrote me.
It's probably because of your love of chicken, Murray.
Chicken soup. Let's get it down. Chicken soup is
okay. All right.
Is the Alexa for everything.
But I just heard recently talking about our overprotection from risk. All right, so the government and Sean Duffy, who runs the transportation department, who I generally think is a pretty good guy, they're talking about making flying safer. Now, do you know how freaking safe flying already is? Here's the statistics, Murray. We lose one airplane out of every 20 million flights.
Yeah.
Just in the United States, not even the rest of the world. There's 25,000 commercial flights a day, 10 million a year, and we lose one airplane every 2 years. And seriously, I'm not actually really joking about this. The extraterrestrials flying here, they crash more spacecraft than we crash airplanes. It's unbelievable. I don't think you could make it any safer. It's ridiculously safe, especially when we consider how relatively primitive we're pushing metal through the air. We are.
Yeah, airline safety has really improved dramatically in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I remember in the 1950s, there were many accidents and many crashes each year, and now they're few and far between. And when they happen, they make big news, like that Air India crash that happened right after takeoff in India, and that's where just about everyone died. There was one survivor, incredibly. And so again, flying, but the real hassle at the airport is trying to get on a flight. It's we haven't flown in a couple of years, and we haven't flown internationally in many, many years. But the airports are becoming very difficult to navigate. But if you need to go, you can go and try to travel on off-peak periods, which give you, I think, a much greater speed up through the TSA lines.
My sister just retired as a travel agent, and she said, and this will date both of us, but she said flying in the is basically it's the Greyhound bus service of the 21st century. That and you and I probably both remember. I'm guessing you remember too. In the 1960s and 70s, it was downright luxurious. I mean, it was fantastic, but that all went away. But it's safety wise, it's like, my God, you have a better chance getting hit by a car going out to your front mailbox in the front of your yard than you are crashing in an airplane. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Things have improved exponentially. So that's the really good news about life in America and life around the world. And of course, poverty has come down. And the reason poverty has come down, which is what the topic I want to get into, is because of trade. Trade has made the ability of people to consume goods and services they otherwise would not. And there's really good news on the tariff front. An appeal.
Before you get started with that, I had Thomas DiLorenzo on the show last week.
He's fantastic.
President of Mises. And he was on Thursday, and he told me that the following day you were going to do a debate at the Mises Institute regarding tariffs. But I never got who you debated with. All he told me that you were debating the against tariff side, right?
Right. I debated an attorney from Canada, of all places, Spencer Morrison, a young attorney.
Oh, he's been on too. I've had him on too. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So that video of the debate should be uploaded to the Mises YouTube channel any day now. And we had a very civil discussion. It wasn't a very long debate because it was during Mises University, where students from around the world come and spend a week and learn about the Austrian School of Economics. And so I made my points about trade is natural to human beings. In fact, the Declaration of Independence, which was 4 weeks ago, talks about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In order to sustain your life, you have to trade. No one can make all the things that we consume. It's impossible.
Right.
Liberty means we have the right to trade with whomever we want, wherever they're located, and pursuit of happiness. As long as we use peaceful means to achieve our goals. That's what the Declaration guarantees the American people from 1776, that a free people do not need government permission to trade, and tariffs are nothing more than taxes on imported goods. And therefore, since I wrote the book, which is in back of me, right there, the Tax-Free 2000, where I call for the elimination of all taxes and the use of the private sector and the nonprofit sector to achieve all the goals that make worthwhile living in the United States.
So, all right. You got me at a brain fart.
Okay, that's no problem. I'll help you get out of it. So
you're a very good talker, Murray. All right. Okay. So, all right. Yeah. All right. Go ahead and help me.
There was a post on CNBC today. I just sent it out to several people that an appellate court is hearing the case against the tariffs by Trump unilaterally imposing tariffs on the American economy. There is no constitutional authority for the president to unilaterally impose tariffs. And so Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution is very clear. Tariffs or taxes are the purview of Congress. Congress has to pass a statute, a law that says, here's what tariffs will be on different goods and services coming into the country. And Trump has basically disregarded his constitutional limits with his unilateral tariffs. So hopefully, if it gets to the Supreme Court soon, the Supreme Court will rule that these tariffs are unconstitutional, and that if Trump wants tariffs, which are harmful to the American people and American businesses, he has to go through the congressional route. So we'll see what happens over the next few days, few weeks, and few months. The problem is a lot of companies already paid the tariffs, so will they get a rebate from the Treasury for all the tariffs that they paid? Hopefully that will happen, because there's no way this is constitutional, Jim. Again, the Constitution is very clear. All revenue-raising measures have to originate from the Congress.
So, all right, I remember what I was going to ask you. I had a guy named Gary Gallis on yesterday. He's an economist at the University of Pepperdine University. I don't know if you know him. And so we were talking, and he, like you, is against the tariffs too. But I was telling him, I'm curious to your thoughts on this, that I'm wondering if what Trump is doing is more than just tariffs. I mean, and Gallus brought this up, and it's true. And it's kind of weird that it works, because you'd think people would be onto this by now. You know, Trump's using the tariffs as a negotiating position. So in some ways, maybe you have to take all of that in consideration. I don't know. But he sets up an artificial barrier, and then he negotiates it down, you know. And so, and that, you know, and Gallus was making fun of him, because I say, well, and I've been saying, well, it's stupid, but it works.
Well, here's the point I made in the debate. Now I'm going to make it here again. Trump is not the CEO of America, Inc. If U.S. companies have a problem with barriers overseas, they should do what they do in America. Hire lobbyists in those countries and get the laws to be changed in those countries, and get barriers removed and tariffs reduced or eliminated. In other words, the president is not responsible for the health of the U.S. economy. The U.S. economy works very well by men and women entrepreneurs figuring out what we, the people, want, and then going ahead and making those goods and services available to us. And that's that will satisfy some sort of need that I have. Is it a price that I can afford? And is the quality going to match what I expect it to have? And that's what the marketplace is all about, is that we basically experiment with the goods that are out there. And if we like something, we continue to buy it. If we don't like it, we don't buy it anymore. So the marketplace, Jim, is a pure democracy. Everyone has $1, one vote, and that's the beauty of the free enterprise system. It allows us to to achieve what we want peacefully, voluntarily, with domestic producers, with foreign producers. And if Trump really understood this, for a businessman, he should understand it, because he's opening up businesses around the world. The Trump organization is involved in businesses around the world. So the point I would make, Jim, is that he's telling us, don't do what I do, just do what I say.
Yeah. So why does he think that way? I mean, seriously, it's like, what is it?
He's obsessed with trade deficits. And as I pointed out in the debate, I have a trade deficit. You have a trade deficit with all the vendors you buy from the mortgage companies that you pay your mortgage, or the property owner that you rent from. And last year, my wife and I ran a huge trade deficit with our independent living facility here in Naples, with all the vendors that we purchased from through Amazon and our charge card, Costco, and you name it, all the vendors. We buy from them. They don't buy anything from us. So I have a trade deficit with them. I don't lose any sleep because we have income in order to pay for that.
Yeah.
So the notion that a trade deficit, a national trade deficit, is somehow harmful doesn't make any sense, because what foreigners do with those dollars is they buy our treasury securities to help fund the deficit, which is unconscionable, 2 trillion plus a year. And it's going to continue for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Who knows how long this deficit will continue, because the problem, Jim, is a spending problem in Washington. If Washington gave us a balanced budget at much lower levels, because if they really believe that the federal budget is great for the American people, why don't they raise our taxes so the budget would be balanced between revenues and expenditures? But they don't do that, because the American people realize they're not getting a great deal from the federal government.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of switching gears here.
Sure.
But I've had a lot of people. I'm having more and more economists on, Murray, and it's not that I'm cheating on you. You're always going to be my original girlfriend. You know that. and people from the Mises Institute too. I mean, like I said, I had Thomas DiLorenzo on last week, but I've been hearing more and more people who are starting to advocate of what you've been talking about for years, basically, and that is we should abolish the Fed. How do you think the Fed's doing right now?
It's doing a horrible job because it's basically the manipulator, the engine of inflation. It creates money. That money spreads through the economy. It raises asset prices. It raises consumer prices. It raises producer prices. There's nothing good that the Fed does for the economy. The economy needs freedom. That is the essence of a sound, sustainable economy. And we need stable money. We don't need money that's depreciating year after year after year. Even if inflation is 2%, that means you have 2% less purchasing power. And if your wages go up 4%, well, taxes are going to take away most of that increase. And so you're no better off with even a 2% inflation, which is the Fed target. How they came up with that number is beyond me.
I mean, how did they come up with it?
Well, they claim that the consumer price index overstates inflation. So therefore, a 2% inflation is really, quote, stable prices. But the way the consumer price index is constructed, you're throwing everything into the kitchen sink, and you're trying to come up with a price index for the economy. Everyone has their own price index. What I buy in retirement is a lot different than millennials are buying in their life. And so you're comparing apples and oranges. But the point I would make is, in a free market economy, and this is something that no one talks about on the talking heads on the financial shows, in a free market economy, Jim, prices slowly go down, which is what happened in the last third of the 19th century. We had natural deflation, and we've had deflation in our lifetime between TVs and other high-tech items. Even, in fact, airline travel is a lot cheaper today than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. I remember in 1971, Jim, my wife and I took the youth fare to Italy. Under 26 or 25, you got $199 round trip. Well, if you put it in today's purchasing power, $200 in 1971 is roughly $1,500 today. It doesn't cost $1,500 today to fly to
No.
Italy round trip.
No.
And so it just shows you the tremendous advances in productivity in the airline industry, where prices are basically the same for where they were in 1971, even though the price of oil has gone up. Even the price of oil, adjusted for inflation, is probably lower than it was back in 1979, when we had the second oil crisis and oil went to $40. Now oil is 68. And so on a inflation adjusted basis, oil is much cheaper than it was in 1979.
Well, you brought, the thing about airline prices. You got to keep in mind that Carter deregulated the airline industry in 1978, and that started the decline of, because they weren't basically competing. The government was literally setting the prices. I don't have to tell you.
This is one of the great achievements of the Carter administration.
It is.
He helped set the boom for the 1980s and 90s by deregulating major industries, and prices came down. Competition is good, but we don't need government enforced competition. We just let the marketplace work itself out. And the beauty of today is, between e-commerce and the big box stores and your local mom and pop businesses, we have at our access to where the best bargains are in our economy, and people do the shopping. They do the comparison shopping. We were in Best Buy a couple of years ago looking for something, and the salesperson went online to get me a matching price that the Best Buy would match at the lowest possible price in the marketplace. They want your business. So if they want your business, and you tell them, I'm going to look for a vendor that has a better price, they will go online and check with Costco and Amazon and whatever. And so that's the beauty of technology. It's made us really strong consumers.
And not only that, you're right, things have gotten insanely cheap. I had a friend of mine who bought a 55-inch color 4K television for $230. When my mother came over to the United States in 1955, my father bought her a TV. She was the first, and my father was cheap as hell. So this was really an amazing thing. And I think I figured that television in 1955, black and white, was a rough equivalent today to like $7,000.
Yep.
And
I mean, look at color TV when it first came out 70 years ago.
Oh yeah,
in the 1950s. Right. Today you can get those big screen TVs, very thin. Most people can carry them, if not maybe the 55-inch, but even the smaller ones. The price in real terms is probably down about 80-90% in real terms.
That's right, and they're better too. And then even look at cameras. You look at what we're doing in this very second. 20 years ago, a studio television camera in a your local TV station was like $100,000.
Yep.
And it was nowhere near as good as a camera you're using right now, which is really amazing.
Well, the technology for doing podcasts is unbelievable. You can now do a podcast with anyone around the world as long as they have access to the internet.
Yeah.
Years ago, that would be prohibitive to do, or it would be so expensive that the average person couldn't do it. So you have podcasters all over the world doing interviews with people that they wouldn't have access to otherwise, or it cost them an arm and a leg. And so technology is a double-edged sword, because the government likes to control technology as well. And that's why people have very big concerns about the surveillance state, and why the government really has to be reined in when it comes to our privacy and all the other things that they do in order to access data that they should not have access to.
Yeah. I've interviewed several people from England, and to my amazement, the connection works just fine. There's no delay or anything. I mean, this intertube thing is really an amazing thing. Right?
Well, streaming live is just another example, because the Mises University last week, people could go online and watch in real time all the instructors that were lecturing to the students. I mean, it's incredible what you can achieve today. That's why colleges have a real problem in the future, because a lot of education can now be online at a fraction of the cost of what colleges are charging, but students still want that college experience for 4 years. But prices will have to come down, because why should a student go into debt for hundreds of thousands of dollars to attend a so-called elite university where they can get the same content online for a fraction of the cost?
Not only that, nobody asks anybody, with a few exceptions. I mean, every subject or every profession has a few schools that everybody knows, like MIT for engineering, or Harvard for law. But for example, I didn't know this. My My niece she's in interior architecture. Kansas State is one of the 3 best schools in the. I didn't know that in the country for that. But the thing is, other than that, nobody cares what school you went to.
Well,
So
you got to show prospective employees your skill set. That's the key to getting a good job. If you have a great skill set, no matter what profession it is, you're going to be gobbled up because companies want qualified, skillful, dedicated, focused youngsters in order to join their company. And again, there are college graduates that are making well into 6 figures, depending on what their skill set is. That's why having these soft majors are really a detriment to people's ability to become part of something in this economy. Unless you're going to start your own business, it doesn't matter what your major is, but it's really helpful to have a skill set that either you learn through your college or university, learn it on your own, which of course you can do now with YouTube. And there are so many different companies that have access to courses that give you, whether it's in the technical fields or it's in the social sciences, you can learn so much online without having to pay an arm and a leg.
Hey, Murray, you've been retired what, from Ramapo College about years now. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I retired 5 years ago.
How long has it been? Okay. Do you miss teaching?
Yes and no. I mean,
I've never asked you this.
Yes and no. I really like to be in front of the classroom and expand students' minds, give them the skill set they need in finance. My favorite course, Jim, was the Financial History of the United States, where it was a combination of finance, economics, history, political science, sociology, philosophy. It was really a very broad subject because we covered a lot of material from the colonial period up to the present, and students really appreciated it because it gave them insights in how the economy goes through these periods of prosperity and downturns. And they read material that they otherwise would not read. They saw videos of terrific presenters like Tom DiLorenzo, Tom Woods, and a whole host of other people that are who have videos online on different parts of American financial history. So again, it was one of those courses that I would teach online if I had that opportunity. Maybe one day soon I'll be able to offer that online. I have the reading list all prepared from the syllabus, so it'd be an easy course to put together.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. The cost of college is insane, and especially you don't really even have to go to a place anymore to learn anything. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That Murray, I'm going to let you go, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you doing this.
Well, great to
We
be
should
with
talk
you.
longer again.
Great to be with you, Jim, and many more years of anniversary, many more anniversaries in the future.
It's our friend, economist Murray Sabrin, used to teach at Ramapo College in New Jersey. I think that's Ramapo University now. He's still the emeritus professor of economics there, and I think they named it's the Sabrin Center of Free Enterprise. They named it after him at Ramapo College. And you'll notice my apologies about the fact that nothing I can do about the fact that the video got kind of wonky there at the end. I think these are internet issues. I've been trying to track them down, but I know they've been happening more lately. Lately being the last maybe a week or 10 days, and I don't know what's going on here. But at any rate, you can call up now. Call and talk to me. 325-225-5546, or if you need a mnemonic device, 325 call Jim. That's what the number is, and you can call it anytime you want, 24/7. If we're not on the air, you can leave a message. You got 2 minutes to leave voicemail. And I forgot to do that. We did get one the other night, and it was pretty funny. And I was going to clip it and play it to you, but at any rate, that's what we got going on here. So this is a part of the show I call the Jimcast, and we're going to talk about some news that you probably didn't hear about in other places. First thing is the White House ballroom that Trump wants to build is going to start construction in September. $200 million, all donations. And actually, I think he's not talking about it, but I think he's paying for the majority of it personally, I think. 90,000 square feet. It will hold 600 to 700 people for a state dinner. That's, a table sitting down. It's a pretty big thing. It's going to be next to the East Wing, and it's designed in the same Georgian classical style as the rest of the White House, so it will match. And I saw some pictures of the interiors, the mock-ups of the interiors. It's going to be a very, very pretty facility, and yeah, it will completely match the rest of the White House. That's pretty cool. That's good. And yeah, taxpayers aren't paying for it. And Trump's absolutely right. They need this because now if they have to seat more than 200 people, they put a giant tent in the backyard of the East Wing of the White House. And if it's raining or wet, and I don't know if you know this, the entirety of DC is built on a giant swamp. That's actually the reason they call it the swamp, because that's the reason. And if it's wet at all, the floor of that tent gets all mucky. It's a terrible thing. It is terrible. So that's actually pretty cool that they're doing that. So last night I was talking about the fact that I was wondering, and we were talking about the Sydney Sweeney thing, because I had an unusual conclusion that I drew here about the fact that I'm starting to wonder if a good portion of the populace is mentally ill. This is so crazy, Larry and I were talking about it in the first segment. It's so crazy that, and there's people, there are political opinions being expressed that are so absurd. And I'm not even talking about like the socialism thing. I understand how people get the idea that socialism is a good idea. It isn't. First of all, it's never worked anywhere it's been tried. It's been the last 150 years, it's been tried plenty of times. It's never worked. And also the fact it doesn't, I like to say that capitalism is an extremely flawed system, but it's still the best economic system we got. It's the only single system that actually creates money. All the rest of them don't, including socialism. So I'm not really even talking about socialism. I'm talking about the fact that we have people that are espousing stuff that's completely batshit crazy. Totally. Well, anyway, last night I'm watching Bill O'Reilly, my boyfriend, on the tube. I'm watching the No Spin News, and he talks about the fact, I didn't hear this. It was just last night, really, about 2 hours after I got off the tube here with you, about the fact that and I think it was this Health and Human Services. This was a government agency that has concluded through surveys that 1/3 of the American adult population, 1/3, has mental or emotional illness issues. 1/3, 1 out of every 3 people in the country. All-time record. Other thing than all-time record, he did not give the figure for this, but addiction to drugs, both prescription and non-prescription, legal and illegal, addiction to drugs in the United States is at an all-time high. I had somebody, and I can't remember who it was, but there's a guest on here that floated a really interesting idea, because I was talking about the fact that people are batshit crazy. And this guy said, well, you think about this. This was floated, or this all started around the time that marijuana was made legal in most parts of the United States. And I thought, oh my God, he's right. He called it, well, and who was this? Cannabis psychosis. I think it was Nels Gravelius, I think. Hey, get a load of this. My mother's here. Hold on, I'm going to put her on. Mom, can you hear me? Mama? Mama?
Yeah, me.
Yeah, can you hear me, Mom?
Yeah, I can hear. Shut the television.
Yeah. It's my mother, folks. She's 101 years old. How did that happen? It was your birthday last Saturday, Mom.
Congratulations.
Well,
To you too.
Yeah, congratulations to both of us. I'm 2 and you're 101.
Yeah. So, how's everything?
Oh, good, Mama. Good. So, you and I had a date on Saturday night. That was pretty cool.
Oh, the most beautiful date.
I want
I
to.
never had it for years.
Yeah, I want to explain to everybody what we did. We went to the theater, and we saw
Yeah.
Shrek the musical. But
But we put big lunch, put big supper and theater, and like I said, I've never been for a long time, years like that.
Mom, somehow
I felt like I was 55 years old.
yeah, only 45 years ago.
Yeah, that's my age.
At the theater, Mom, at the theater, they made the opening announcements about no pictures, all that sort of their usual stuff. And then they said, we have a special guest here. Nada Peters is here, and it's her 101st birthday. And the crowd went nuts with applause. It was really cool, Mama.
Huh?
When they announced at the theater that you were 101, everyone applauded.
Jim, I hear you, but sometimes you go away, kind
Oh,
of.
okay. Well, all right. I don't know. I don't think there's anything I can do about that. It's just we've had connection issues here for like a week, so I don't know what's going on, Mom.
Oh, I think you've got to make, because I called 2 times before they told me that number doesn't exist.
Yeah, but you got through this time.
So finally I thought, well, one more time I'm going to call so I got through you.
So, Mother, what's the next 100 years going to be like for you?
What?
The next 100 years, what are they going to be like?
Oh, don't say, please don't say that. 100 years.
Okay.
No, it's
I won't.
too boring. Too, how can I say? Nothing in life.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
After 100 years, you don't look forward to too much.
I suppose, yeah. Right. Well, there aren't many people make it past that.
Old. I'm thankful I'm as healthy as I am.
Yeah.
But,
and you are healthy, Mom. That's true. You're walking around. I mean,
and I've got the best family in the world. My kids, my grandchildren, the best family in the world.
Yeah, and
I'm very, very thankful.
And you actually got to see your great grandson. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
I never thought I'd have one.
I know.
But
I know.
Beautiful too.
He's damn cute too.
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I try to read, but it's not like on yours. Even 70, even 80. After you pass 100, it's a different story.
Yeah, I believe it, Mama.
So,
I do. Yeah.
Well, I'll live as long as I can.
Yeah.
You know, nobody knows God, what's God for me.
Right.
But that's all I can do. Just live, get up in the morning and do what you have to do.
Yeah.
So, as long as you get all of you're healthy and everything, and the world is in peace, not to be a war for young people, no nothing. That I pray to God too.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Mom.
How I feel it.
Thanks for depressing me. I appreciate it.
Feel about those things, so.
Oh man.
Yes.
Oh. So, Mom, do you want to talk about the Nazis? You know, everyone talks about the Nazis, but you actually knew the Nazis. Yeah.
My God.
You knew the Nazis, the real ones.
Somebody asked me today about German. I guess he must have been in the army, World War II, about the German police. I say, yeah, I know. Nighttime, I can hear them because we used to have a back home cobblestones with streets, you know.
Yeah.
And you can hear them in the room, walking and making noise.
Yeah.
And everybody was so scared.
Was
don't know.
Mom?
They don't know when they're going to stop.
Was that the Gestapo?
Huh?
That was the Gestapo, right?
Yeah, the Gestapo. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, lots of things. If one German was killed, they take kids from high school, 15, 18 years old, to kill him. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was, Mom. It was terrible.
So,
and you survived it. Your whole family did.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And you know, I've told you we slept at the end of the war, they were losing. Then they used to go after a young woman.
Yeah.
Me and my sister, we slept in a closet for 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
So.
That was awfully nice.
Any war is no good.
No, it
You
isn't,
know,
Mom. No,
I don't care what it is.
no.
Yeah, so I hope they stop. I feel so sorry of the Gaza and Ukraine. Look at what they're going through. No food.
Yeah,
My God, kids are dying. Little kids
Yeah.
are dying.
yeah,
I don't know what they're doing. Those big shots up there.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't know if they know either, Mom.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I feel very sorry, but there's nothing I can do.
No, there isn't.
So neither you, it's the big shots, the big governments. They can get together.
No, I'm just sitting here
So-
talking on the internet, Mom. That's what I do. So,
But you know, even this, it's been all. It took about 100 years. World War II came. Now we've got one since 1917. It started the practical World War II with what's his name?
yeah,
The German. Yeah, he started little by little and became big shot. So it's going now the same thing. So in 100 years, it's going to be another war again.
yeah.
So
Mom, you don't think humans are ever going to get out of this, huh? You think we could stop this, couldn't we?
sure we can stop. People can get together. For what they're fighting? For land?
No,
For what they're fighting?
they don't know, Mom.
You see, that nobody knows.
Right. Years ago, people.
But themselves to be big shot, to be known. Maybe.
Yeah, years ago, people fought over land. They did that then, but not now. So,
So
Well-
the Gaza, I think the Gaza, I told you, I think my idea is Israel wants Gaza, that land of theirs that be their own, because it's an ocean.
uh-huh.
But these are fighting. They want to take all that place to get the Israelis.
Yeah,
So that's my idea.
yeah.
I don't know what other people think.
What are you
But
doing?
that's my idea.
Mom, what are you doing this weekend?
Oh, what's her name? Tomorrow Sharon's coming.
Oh, that would be my cousin, right? Yeah.
Your cousin, she's
Right.
coming. She's going to, your sister told me she's coming to look for a home.
Yeah, that's good because
to buy
I
a
know
new home.
she's been talking
And
about
then
it for a long
we're
time.
gonna- Huh?
She's been talking about that for a long time. Yeah,
Well, we'll see what she's going to do. you know.
yeah.
So, anyway, then Mary, she invited me for supper on that tomorrow
Oh, good.
night
That's good.
because Sharon's going to be there.
Yeah.
And then Sharon, Saturday, she's going to Lake City.
You know, Mom. None of the
and then
people
she's
watching
leaving.
this.
She's
None of
not
the people
staying
watching
there.
this know who you're talking about. You know that, right?
Huh?
None of the people watching this know who you're talking about. You do know that, right? They,
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
know, Mom.
she's been talking about buying a house for a long, long
Yeah,
time. So,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Well, that'll be
Then,
nice.
I hope she does it this time.
You tell her I said
But she
hello,
wants
would you?
here in she doesn't want in Lake City. She wants in Redding.
Uh huh.
So she's
Yeah.
going to go look. She's coming, I guess, tomorrow, sometimes noontime. So she's going to look 3-4 houses or
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
I'll find out when
All
she
right.
comes.
All right. Welcome to my family, folks.
Yeah.
Mama, I'm going to let you go. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank
dear.
you for calling,
Oh,
Mom.
nice talking to you. I love you.
I love you. You know
I
that.
love you. Love you. Say hi to Karen from me, too.
Yeah. Okay. I will. Okay, Mama. Thank you. Thanks. I love you. See
Bye.
you later.
Have a
Bye.
good night. Yeah. Bye.
That's my mother. She's 101. And she apparently thinks she's on a private phone call with me. So you got to hear all about my family. About, yeah, my cousin's coming from Iowa. Okay. That's good. That's good. But yeah, Nada did, she did actually spend a couple of weeks in sleeping in a closet to stay away from the Nazis. Yeah. So the other thing she had, I always found this interesting too. When she was 15, she had her appendix removed, and this was in around 1939, and over in the Eastern Bloc, and she had her appendix removed with no anesthesia whatsoever, not even local. They just cut it out. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? There's what technology gets you, you know. So Murray and I were talking about how cheap television sets are. Yeah, but you have an anesthesia too. Like, you know, that's good. So give me a call, folks. 325 call Jim. 325. So where was I? Oh, I was about the fact that I was just talking about the fact that Bill O'Reilly said that a third of America is supposedly mentally ill. And so I'll leave you. No, I'm not going to leave you. I got another thing here from Minnesota, which is going to go down to history now. It's going to be the new Florida, is what it is. We got another call, and hold on. Hi, who's this?
This is Cooper.
Hi, Cooper. How you doing?
Good, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, I want to explain to everyone, Cooper hasn't called for a while. Cooper's an alien, right?
Yes, that's right.
And I've never asked you, Cooper, never had a chance to ask you, what planet are you from?
I told you once a long time ago.
I don't remember, though.
That's too bad.
Okay. All right. It was nice of you to call.
So
yeah, go ahead.
the leaders of my planet wanted to congratulate you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Well, do you know what they want to congratulate you on for?
I assume it's because it's our 2-year anniversary, right?
Not exactly.
Yeah. No, did you say not exactly?
That's right. Not exactly.
All right. So what is it?
For 2 years, you managed to get gainful employment.
Well, I wouldn't call it that exactly, but sure. If you want to go with that, that's fine.
Oh, the leaders on our planet, they watch your show nightly, but they take anesthetic before they watch.
I bet they do. Yeah, me and Murray Sabrin just lighting the place up, huh?
And do you know how we punish people on our planet?
No, how?
They have to watch your show without anesthetic.
Wow. That's great. That gives me a nice warm feeling, Cooper.
We just wanted to congratulate you. It's quite an achievement.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know. Are you?
We hope we go for another 40 years.
Where are you calling from right now? Where are you?
My car.
Oh, like you mean like in a Earth-like car, you mean?
Not quite. I'm orbiting your planet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
I had to get within your biosphere to hear the show.
Uh-huh. Well, that's cool. All right.
So anyway, we all congratulate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for calling. It's been a long time. So call back sometime, okay?
You're more than welcome.
You take care, all right? Nice flight home.
Goodbye now.
Bye.
Thank you.
That's Cooper. He's an alien. Yeah, Cooper's actually called him before. So we've talked to him in the past. So that's okay. That's humorous. That's all right. So and I was saying, okay, so that's actually what a great segue. So he didn't even plan this. So there's a guy in Windham, Minnesota, which is a small town south of Minneapolis, who murdered his neighbor because he thought she was an extraterrestrial. That's not exactly a humorous story per se, because the woman is dead and he killed her, next door neighbor. And so this happened just 2 days ago, and he was telling his other neighbor that he was quite convinced she was from another planet, and he eliminated her. And when the police asked him about it, other than that fact, he wouldn't talk about anything else. That's the only thing he would tell them, is that he killed her. He killed her because he thought she was an alien. That's great. Now, I talked to you about a couple weeks ago about this is really, really weird. About there's people now doing research on the drug called DMT, which is a naturally produced substance in certain kind of exotic plants in the Amazon rainforest, and it's used by certain Amazonian tribes down there as a ritual drug. It's extremely psychedelic, way worse than, I guess, LSD. But what somebody's figured out, a scientist actually noticed this after talking to a bunch of people, and then he started to actually deliberately talk to people about this, about the fact that people who take the drug basically have the same hallucination. They have the same dream. Now that's not really, that's an imprecise way to put it. They dream about the same place. In other words, the dream might be different, but it's the same place. It's the same cast of characters. None of them are human, and they basically dream about primarily two types of beings. They dream about tiny little, for lack of better, the Minion movie. They dream about what they call they call them mechanical elves. These tiny little beings that are very jovial and have fun and like to do practical jokes, kind of like the minions are, kind of stupid. And then they dream about these praying mantis like entities that are very tall, 7 to 8 feet tall, and they kidnap the people who are having the hallucination and do medical experiments on them. Now, people who have done this drug and go through this say it seems more real than real. People say that it seems totally real. But I don't have to tell you, the doctors and the scientists who say this is that I was reading more about this today because I talked about the little mechanical elves last week. Now I'm talking about the praying mantises and the mantis-like beings. One of the scientists said the same thing I concluded, and that is the only way this could happen is if your brain was hardwired to react this way to the chemical. And he said the dreams and the hallucinations are too specific for that to happen, and they are, apparently. It says, and then the other really weird thing is, there's a whole bunch of people who say they've been abducted by aliens, who say they encounter the mantis-like beings, and usually they're the people, quote unquote, people in charge. So the general abduction scenario, is that the little gray aliens abduct people and bring them into the spacecraft and plop them down on the examination table, and then there's the actual medical examinations are done by the mantis-like beings. And as far as anyone can tell, the beings that people are talking about in the alien abductions are the same beings in these people's hallucinations. And now scientists are starting to wonder, well, maybe this is a real place. And how the hell could you go there by taking a drug? Well, if it's interdimensional, and the way interdimensionality works or would work, we have never proved that it exists, is that basically you'd have another world superimposed on the world you live in. In other words, whether you're in your bed or wherever you're at right now watching this, that there would literally be a whole nother universe imposed upon the one you're in. So you don't really go anywhere. You don't have to travel anywhere. You just have to cross into the other universe. And that's considered more or less impossible for humans. So we live in supposedly a 4-dimensional universe that would be width, height, and length, 3 physical dimensions, and time. Now, just a couple weeks ago, I think it was in Poland, a Polish physicist has determined that time itself is 3 dimensions. That would make us a 6-dimensional universe. But the point is, it's literally impossible for a human to imagine a space with more than those dimensions. Your brain could not process that. So there's a theory. My friend Jazz Shaw used to come on the show. He was a UFO writer for Salem Media, and he was very well known in the UFO community. And he pointed this out about the fact that David Grush, this guy's appeared before Congress and keeps talking about all these crash retrievals we have. When people say, well, these beings are from other planets, he's always very careful to say no, or how does he put it? That they are Oh, they're non-human intelligence. He won't say they're extraterrestrials. And the word extraterrestrial means out of our planet. That's what it means. He says no, they're non-human entities is the way he describes them, because and people have cornered him on this. He has actually said we're not certain they're from other planets, but they're not from here. So there's a lot of people who think this interdimensional hypothesis might be real, but you're talking about beings who can cross into our um, dimension, but we can't go into theirs or something like that, unless maybe they can. There's some trick they pull or something, technology being what it is. And you have to understand this too. And this would basically be a general rule that you can go to if like, all right, we live in a 4-dimensional world. If you want to go to a 2-dimensional world, you could do that, but you can't go up higher. You can go down lower. So a 2-dimensional universe would be completely flat. It'd be people living on a piece of paper, which sounds really weird, but that's exactly what it would be. And so you could travel to a universe with less dimensions, but not with one with more. Or actually, you could travel there, but you would be completely mentally overwhelmed because you wouldn't be able to figure it out, and probably couldn't live either. So this is just really, really strange. And the fact that this is all done with a drug, and a fairly common drug at that. I mean, it's not, well, I shouldn't say it's common, but it's been around a long time, like possibly thousands of years, that tribes in the Amazon have been using this stuff. But so I don't know if I'd say it's common per se, but it's been around a long time. And they just figured this out, that everybody basically ends up seeing the same thing. Well, that's really odd. Just really odd. And finally, because I think this applies to this show, so scientists have determined that most conspiracy theorists don't realize they're conspiracy theorists. I thought I'd bring this up because I'm probably the biggest conspiracy theorist, but technically, from what I read in this thing, and I don't think I'm just stroking myself here, I'm technically not a conspiracy theorist, because they said, first of all, most conspiracy theorists don't think they're conspiracy theorists, and most conspiracy theorists vastly overestimate the number of people, the percent of the population that believe what they think. And I certainly haven't done that. I know that. I talk about this UFO shit all the time, and I know the vast majority of you don't buy it worth crap. But I have to say that's also one of the reasons I talk about it all the time, is because I want you to realize I know only one thing for certain, and that is the United States military or government or somebody has recovered at least 6 and probably 9 or more crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft. And ergo, if there's crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft, that means there's extraterrestrials. That's what I know. I know that for a fact. Now, this same article, an article I was just reading today, I thought it was the article on DMT. It isn't. They mentioned what I just read a couple of weeks ago. That is Hal Puthoff, one of the most renowned physicists in America, who's apparently been working on this stuff for the government for 30, 40 years. He said on a podcast, I'm astonished he said this, but he didn't say it because I would think it would be beyond his security oath. But he said, as far as he knows, the U.S. military have recovered 10 crashed spacecraft. And he also went on to talk about the fact there's other countries that have recovered them too. Supposedly, this has been coming out for a while. I think even David Grush was talking about this, that there was one that crashed in Italy in 1933, and that the Americans took it over after the war because the Vatican put them onto it. Interesting story. There's apparently one that crashed in Russia in the late 1930s. There's one that supposedly crashed in Germany in the 1930s. And the really weird thing, and I have no idea if this is true or not, this is just a rumor. And you'll say, well, Jim, you don't know if any of this is true, but I know a little bit. That supposedly one crashed in Iraq. And that's even one of the reasons we take Iraq enormously seriously, is because apparently they have access to this technology but we do not know if people have figured out how to do this or not. Now, Ross Coulthart, the guy who does these UFO reports on on News Nation, Australian journalist. He says now he's been told by multiple sources, and Eric Burleson, the congressman, has confirmed this, or that he's also been told by multiple sources, that those Tic Tac things that were flying around in the Pacific by the USS Nimitz, that was the basis of that famous article in 2017 in the New York Times, that those things are actually ours. But I've been saying that for years. I've said yeah, we built those things, but they're based on reverse engineered extraterrestrial technology. And Coulthard said he's hearing that too. But then again, a lot of people are saying that he's being fed this information because they don't want to admit the fact that they're real. I have no idea. I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole here so quickly; it's unbelievable. You know, I've thought those things are ours. I don't know why. It's just my gut. I have nothing. I can't tell you anything why I think that, but I just do. And everyone said, well, they want to test them in front of the Navy. And I thought, no, that's exactly where they test them. That's the reason I think they're ours. I don't think the extraterrestrials would be running that shit in front of the Navy. I don't think they would. You know, although one theory is that they do it to show their technological superiority. I suppose that could be true. It's like a war. Here's another little piece of tidbit you probably haven't heard anywhere else. It's pretty much determined now that all those things they saw in the sky in New Jersey last year, in northern New Jersey, that the most of them, not all of them, the majority of them were Chinese drones, which are now highly advanced. They're running AI so they can kind of run on their own, kind of, sort of, and that the Chinese did that basically as a giant middle finger to the U.S. military. Look, we're over your territory, and there's nothing you can do about it, and there wasn't anything we could do about it. So that's kind of interesting, and I totally believe that. I do. I think that's completely plausible and probable, even though there's a lot of people who said that they also saw other things in the sky that did not look like drones, and that and I'm just gonna hold on. I'll end with this, and that is those stupid flying metal spheres that everybody sees everywhere. The one that landed in Buca, Colombia, being one. They've X-rayed that one. It has a bunch of electronic equipment inside of it. They know that it's highly artificial. They don't know how it flies. They have video of it flying from multiple sources, from multiple angles. Different people took video of it flying, and then it landed in a field, and somebody actually went and retrieved it. Supposedly, they're trying now to revive this thing by giving it, I'm sorry about that, by giving it certain electromagnetic shocks, because they think if they can shock this thing to turning back on, it will levitate, and if it levitates, it will connect with ET home, and that's what they want. They want to trace a signal, I guess. But it's the first time, basically, a UFO has been captured by a non-governmental entity that anybody knows. So that's going to be really interesting to see what happens to that. We're not alone, folks. That's what I want you. If you take anything off the show after doing it for 2 years, that's the one thing I want you to know. We're not alone. And I don't know when or if the government's ever going to come out, the president's ever going to stand up. I'm going to make a prediction here. I predicted this in the past. I think Trump will release this information about extraterrestrials, about the fact we're not alone. I think he will formally release it before the end of his term. And it'll probably be really, literally the very end, like December of 28. That's my guess, just as he's leaving office. So, because I think I'll be honest, I think he wants the credit. He's got a huge ego, and he loves making himself look good. And he wants to be the president that told America, and then by extension, the world, that we're not alone in the universe. So I'm going to make that prediction right now. It's a good thing to do on our 2-year anniversary, and we'll see if that plays out. And assuming I'm still doing this in 29, I'll come back and I'll let you know either way. But he leaves office, and he leaves. It's in January 29, right? I got that right? Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, yeah, we got 2 more years left, another 2 years going here. As I said, we're going to change the format of the show a little bit, and tonight was a preview of that. Instead of doing one longer interview, we're going to do 2 shorter ones most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. So, and then all I have to do is grit my teeth and figure out if we can work through this, because God damn it, it's a lot of work. But I want to thank Kimberly for helping me. I gotta thank her. She's been doing this now for about 2-3 months, and she's done a fantastic job. Just a fantastic job. So my hat's off to her. It's like I could at this point I don't think I could do the show without her. So thanks to her. Thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate it. So it's Fridays tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. We don't do shows on Friday. So we're running a rerun. I think we're running Nils Gravelius, if I'm right, which you really should watch this. This guy's fascinating. I think it's one of the best interviews we've ever done, or at least one of the best interview subjects. I can't tell you if I did a good job, but one of the most interesting people I've ever talked to. And then on Monday, we're taking Monday off. Like I said, I got to go to the dentist. So we're rerunning the show with Francis Menton. He writes the Manhattan Contrarian blog. He's a lawyer by training, but he writes mostly about economics. Had a lot of economists on lately, but it's good because they all think different stuff. And like this quote I was telling to Larry, seriously, you got a guy. Let me just read this back. Hold on a second. It was pretty damn cool. This guy said, "I'm generally a staunch defender of the economic profession. But the fact that an 80-year-old reality show star and his ragtag crew of like 5 Alabama University undergrads are running circles around 10,000 PhDs for a year now does raise some questions, doesn't it?" Yeah, yes, it does. Yeah, that's right. That's the thing. You talk to 1,000, 10,000 economics professors, and you get 10,000 answers. And that's one of the reasons I talked to 10,000 of them. Well, not that many, but anyway. Well, thank you for watching, folks. I really appreciate this very much. I like doing the show, and I hope you enjoy it. I really do. Good night, Uncle Donnie, wherever you are, and good night to you, wherever you may be. You have a nice weekend, folks. We'll see you on Tuesday. Take care.